Please welcome Congressman Stephen Horsford.
Good afternoon, Las Vegas. I am so proud to be with all of you today. I'm Congressman Stephen Horsford, and I'm proud to represent you as the representative of Nevada's 4th Congressional District. Affectionately called Culinary District 4. And it's because of you that I'm in Congress, fighting and working for the people of Nevada every day. I'm proud to be a part of the culinary family, having led the Culinary Training Academy for more than 10 years before you sent me to Congress. And today I'm honored to join with my good friend and yours, our Vice President Kamala Harris, and the rest of the Biden-Harris administration in celebrating the achievements of the Culinary Union in the recent round of negotiation with the biggest hotel casino operators in our valley. The Vice President understands your struggle, and she and the President are working every day to make the lives of working people better as the most pro-union administration in our lifetime. And we're here to celebrate you and these historic wins in the contracts that you secured. Now, I was proud to stand in solidarity with you as you fought for these historic contracts that give the workers in our city outstanding pay, great benefits for you and your families, and boundless opportunities for growth and success. With your tremendous leaders like Ted Papageorge and Deanna Valles, Bethany Kahn and Paul Catha, and so many others, you were able to secure contracts that work for the working people. Unions built this country and created the middle class, and the culinary built Las Vegas. Thanks to unions, we have the 40-hour work week, child labor laws, and overtime pay. We have safety requirements and OSHA standards. We have standard benefits like vacation time, medical plans, and retirement benefits. All of these things that many people might take for granted today were made possible by unions. So thank you. Thank you for your tireless work in building Las Vegas into the hospitality and entertainment capital of the world. It's the people, the workers, who make this possible. Now, I want to take a moment and recognize all the working mothers that make up the Culinary Union membership. So many of you are working to provide for your children and families and make sure that they have everything they need to be successful in their futures. Some of you are single mothers who balance work, children, and home. Single mothers like my mother, Pamela, who is here today. My mother and my grandmother came to the United States from Trinidad and Tobago when my mother was just 12 years old. While my mother attended high school here in the Valley, my grandmother worked, like so many of you, pursuing the American dream and new opportunities. And when my grandmother got sick, my mother was still a teenager and couldn't leave, overstayed her visa and became undocumented. And like many of you, she had to sacrifice her own goals and dreams to provide for me and my younger siblings. My mother worked hard and instilled in me the value of hard work. As the oldest son, I started working in high school to help my mother and my younger siblings. It's these values that remain with me to this day, commitment to improving our communities and making life better for others. My mother's story reminds me of the many unique and yes, sometimes challenging situations you and your families find yourselves in. My mother also taught me the importance of perseverance and never giving up. And last year, she achieved her goal of attaining U.S. citizenship and voted for the first time. And yes, she voted for her son, the congressman. That's why I'm so proud of your accomplishments with this recent round of negotiation and what it means for all of you, your children and families and their futures. You have achieved a tremendous victory for your families and for our community. So thank you and congratulations on these new contracts and what it represents for the people of our city and the union movement across the country. I'm proud to have worked with the Biden-Harris administration on many of our recent accomplishments for Nevadans. From the Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Law to the Inflation Reduction Act, we have made progress for the American people. That's why now most Americans who have to take insulin are seeing caps of $35 a month on those costs. The law we passed only impacted Medicare recipients, but because of that law, the insulin manufacturers have come along and set those caps for everyone across the board. And locally, we know that housing is a major issue. That's why we're working with the Biden and Harris administration and HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge in particular to hold accountable the corporate speculators who are artificially driving up the cost of rent and buying up homes in our communities. We want to protect the American dream, the Vegas dream, and to make sure that those of you who are working hard to buy your first home or simply rent a nice place for you and your family can do so without these corporate speculators making it unattainable for Nevadans. So thank you. Thank you again for your hard work and congratulations on these new contracts. Now please join me in welcoming someone I'm proud to work with in Washington, an advocate and fighter for all Nevadans, a champion for women's rights and reproductive freedoms, and a fighter for our unions and workers' rights, our Senator, Jackie Rosen.
Please welcome Senator Jackie Rosen.
Good morning, everyone. And the sun just came out, so it's a great day to be here at the Culinary Union in Las Vegas with the sun shining on all of us. And the sun is shining here today on us because we welcome the Vice President Harris back here to Las Vegas. And I'm so happy to be here with the incredible men and women of Culinary 226. Las Vegas is a city that runs because of the work that you do. All the work you do. Union work. Culinary 226. I'll say it again. I can't say it enough because you are the driving force behind our economy. Yes, you are. You advocate for our hardworking families. Absolutely right. You advocate for our hardworking families. You build up our middle class. And you help Americans achieve their dream. Nevadans achieve their American dream. And unions do incredible things for workers all across this country. The support that unions provide has lifted up countless families, including mine. When I was younger, I worked multiple jobs to make ends meet to pay for college. And, of course, one of those jobs was right here in Las Vegas. I worked as a cocktail waitress in Caesar's Palace one summer, member of Culinary Union 226. That job helped me pay for school. And you all had my back then. And I want you to know, I have your back now. And I brought that union experience with me to the Senate. And it drives me every single day as I fight for workers, as I stand up for Nevada families. And it's why I'm proud to support legislation that protects our workers' rights, protects our working families, and supports policies that is always going to put you, Nevada workers, first. Our number one priority, all of you first. And thanks to you in this room and those who can't be with us today, your tireless advocacy, you've been there. You've been a huge, huge difference for union workers over the past 2 years in Congress, from the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act. but we've got more work to do because all Nevadans deserve good paying jobs, a safe workplace, and a secure and stable retirement. And let's be clear, unions have a right. Unions have a right to collective bargain. It makes a difference, and that is how we get there. That's why I helped introduce the PRO Act, a bill that truly puts workers first by giving workers in Nevada and across our nation more power in the workplace, protecting that right to organize and bargaining for better wages to take care of our families. And as you all say, and everyone says, one job should be enough. 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 That's right. And that's why I support raising the minimum wage to $15 per hour so that working people are paid fairly. Because why? One job should be enough. And I'm going to continue working to pass legislation that supports our unions and our union workers because these policies, they make a difference in Nevadans' lives. And I know that workers in our state, including all of you, members of 226, and workers all over America, they're on our side. And we're ready to fight for what? We're fighting for our respect, fight for dignity, and fight for the support we all deserve. Because we are union strong. And when we lift up our workers, we make our country stronger. So now, let us get to work. We've got a lot to do. One job should be enough. Thank you.
Please welcome Senator Catherine Cortez Masto.
Wow, look at this. I can't think of a better way to kick off the new year, 2024, than by bringing together the strongest fighters that we have for our working families. This is incredible. First of all, I was driving over here, and I get the privilege to talk up Las Vegas and Southern Nevada quite often. As many of you know, I'm third generation. And I was thinking about it. How do I explain this to people, why we are the gold standard for hospitality and tourism around the world, why we literally are world class? It's because we had the building trades who built those hotels and casinos, and they are union. And we have the service industry that continues to keep it going. Strong 226, right? And it is about unions. Why do I know that? Because like many of you, it's my family. It's my family. That's why my family came here. Grandfather was a pit boss. Had an uncle who was an engineer at the old Hilton Hotel and Casino. My father was a parking attendant. My aunts and uncles worked in the casinos. One housekeeping as an attendant. Another one, cocktails. Another one, nieces and nephews that worked front desk and reservations. This is our industry. And why is this important for us? Because not only are we world class and we have built an incredible tourism and hospitality industry here, but we know that working together, this is a good life for our families. It is a good life to put food on the table, a roof over your head, to make sure that your kids have every success. That's why my grandparents came here. That's why my parents were here, right? And that's no different than anybody out there. That's no different than all of you. And that's what this is about. We know the benefits of organized labor and a good, strong union contract. We know the benefits. And it's not just about the now, right? Making sure we can take care of our own and our family, but it is about the ability to retire with dignity after giving 20 years, 30 years, your life to this industry. That's what this fight is about. That's who we are. And that's where we spent generations, and without organized labor and these collective bargaining agreements, we wouldn't have all of these great benefits and long-term. I say this, think about this. My grandfather came here from Chihuahua, Mexico, to work in this industry, right? Think about this. 2 generations later, his granddaughter's the first Latina in the United States Senate. That's what this is about. But you all know this. We can't do this by ourselves. We need friends. And I'm here to tell you, the Biden-Harris administration, they are our friends. Let me just tell you, because sometimes with everything that's going on, we forget that how hard our friends have worked on our behalf. Now think about this. In the height of the pandemic, when we saw the Las Vegas Strip shut down, that nobody, I don't know, we've never seen that before, right? Who did we go to? Who did we rely on to help us open it up and get back to where we are today because of the American Rescue Plan? That was the Biden-Harris administration, and they passed it. They were looking at our backs. They were ensuring that we had everything that we needed to take care of our families, and they didn't stop there. Working together with all of us, they passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, which has done so much for our working families across this state. We just hosted President Biden here in Nevada to announce the new Brightline West high-speed rail system that we're going to have here in Southern Nevada. And that was made possible by funding from the legislation from the bipartisan infrastructure law. But they weren't done yet. They weren't done yet because they know how hard it is for working families that were struggling after the pandemic and still trying to get back on their feet. So what did they do? Biden-Harris administration passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And you've heard about it, how we are lowering healthcare costs for our families, capping the cost of insulin, allowing for the first time in this, really, in my lifetime that I've seen, the negotiation for prescription drugs for Medicare. The first time taking on Big Pharma. That was the Biden-Harris administration. Working with our Congress, working with all of your elected officials that are in the room today to make sure we are taking care of working families. That's what this is about. That's one piece of it. The other important piece is all of you. It's all of you and the work that you do, but most importantly, it is the fact that we have unions who fight for our workers in this state and across the country, right? Think about this. Look at what the unions have achieved for workers across this country just in this past year. In Las Vegas, we had the incredible Culinary 226 reached important agreements to increase wages and improve workplace safety for thousands of hospitality workers, right? And then in Northern Nevada, we had the United Auto Workers Union. Our members secured the most significant pay raise in decades, right? Yep, clap for that. And in August, the Teamsters ratified a new nationwide contract with UPS to get better pay for part-time workers and make sure that they get their fair share of time off. That, my friends, is a union. That is a union family. We know that. We know that how important it is. And the work that you do is tremendous on behalf of our families, and we can't stop it. But at the end of the day, you're going to get the support that you need, and we'll continue to support our families as long as ensuring that we're working with our friends in Washington, and that's the Biden-Harris administration. This is not the first nor the last time they will be in Nevada. And I'm so pleased to be able to literally every single day have the opportunity to be your voice in Washington, but at the same time know that we've got friends in the White House. We have a president and a vice president who will always have our back, right? And they will absolutely hire people who are going to stand with us. And you're going to see that today, and you will see that. We've seen that so far as we come through this pandemic, and we're going to see that in the future. So I am proud to keep working along with them to ensure that we are doing everything we can for our brothers and sisters in the union. Because without you, we wouldn't have this. And without all of you, listen, without all of you, which is the base of our democratic institutions, our democracy, and our working families and who we are, our kids wouldn't have a future. So thank you. I am here to say thank you and welcome the President and the Vice President, always, to the state of Nevada. Thank you, everyone.
Please welcome U.S. Department of Labor Acting Secretary Julie Su.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. Feliz Año Nuevo. Everyone knows that the place to ring in the new year is Vegas, and the reason for that is because of all of you. So we are here today to thank you for all that you do, and also to celebrate the historic wins that you had last year. So let me ask you, how does it feel to have won the biggest contract ever? How does it feel to have made history? And how does it feel to be part of this remarkable era of worker power in America? Yeah, 23 was a big year for worker wins at the bargaining table. From record level wage gains, to more retirement security, to stronger health and safety protections, to workers demanding and getting a voice in determining the future of their industries. From Hollywood to healthcare, from delivery drivers to dock workers, from teachers to auto workers, and yes, to casino and culinary workers. You all made history. And you did that. You are a part of something much bigger, a moment of reimagining what is possible. For far too long, we've heard that when workers make demands for higher pay, it's bad for business and bad for the country. We've heard that workers who don't make enough to live on just need to keep on working harder. Well, the Biden-Harris administration is changing that narrative. So I was in the room for many of the big negotiations that happened last year, and I heard corporations say that the wage increase you want is too far above the market rate. Above the market rate. My response to that is, why, instead of telling workers that their demands are too high, why don't we start to question why the market rate is so low? Why should we accept as normal the fact that working people have to work full-time, year-round, sometimes multiple jobs, and still not be able to afford to live near where they work? What you are doing is helping to reset and lift up the market rate. And we have, that's right, give yourselves a hand for that. And we have a president and a vice president who's not just watching this happen, but who are using every lever to promote and support it. They know that union is not a bad word. It is what makes America strong. And they know that unions also help to close race and gender pay gaps. So your contract means more economic security for women and people of color, reminding us that if we strive for worker justice, we can also achieve racial and gender justice. So workers had a big year in 2023, and now it's 2024, and we are going to keep on reimagining what is possible for workers. The Biden-Harris administration is going to keep on saying loud and clear that unions make America strong, and when workers do well, America does better. So I'm very proud to be your acting labor secretary in the most pro-worker, pro-union administration in history, and 2024 is going to be our best year yet.
Please welcome Culinary Union Guest Room Attendant Elena Newman.
Hello, good morning. My name is Elena. I am here so proud today to introduce the Vice President and talk about our contract fight. We had tough time negotiation with 3 big casinos. But it took us 8 months, but we fought and win. We win the historic wage increase. which will support our families and the future generation. By the end of this 5-year new contract, the average culinary worker union will be earning $37 an hour, including our benefits, which is amazing. Even though we settled contract for over 40,000 workers, there are 23 more contracts to go. About 7,700 workers that are fighting for best ever contract. We are not done yet. We still need to win all the contract, and Vice President Harris has our back. I remember in October 2023, we were picketing in Las Vegas Strip, and Vice President Harris came to our union, showed that the Biden and Harris administration support us. President Biden and Vice President Harris are the most pro-worker leaders elected which we ever had. And we love to see it. When Vice President Harris came to our union, visit us, it made me feel so strong. It gave us hope. Guest room attendant, front of the house, that we can do this. We were ready to go on strike. Do whatever it takes to win this contract. And she told us that when we're going to strike, she will be here to walk the picket line with us. And that was the very powerful message. As a culinary union shop steward and executive board member, I am so proud to introduce to you the Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
Have a seat. Please have a seat. Elena, I'm telling you, you are just nothing but power. You are just full on power. I mean, just so powerful. And thank you. Well, it's good to be in the House of Labor. It's good to be in the House of Labor. And it's good to be back with the culinary workers. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your fight. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for all you do on behalf of the working people, not only of Nevada, but by modeling what you do, working people all over our country. It is my great honor to be back here with the culinary workers to rejoice with you in the accomplishments that you have achieved most recently, but standing in a long line of accomplishments that have always taken place coming out of this very building on behalf of the working people of America. I want to recognize my husband, who is here, the Second General of the United States. Also known as Doug. We were here together on October 12th when we were last here. We also have Acting Secretary Julie Su. Thank you for your leadership. She is always fighting, and I know her work from back when you were doing that work in California. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, a long-standing friend. The senator and I served together as attorneys general of Nevada and California back in the day, and then in the Senate together. And you are always, always, Catherine, fighting for working people. So it's good to be with you today. Senator Jackie Rosen, who I was honored to serve with in the United States Senate. I will tell you, I see her when the cameras are on, when the cameras are off, and she is the same person, always talking about how we should care about and thinking about the working people of America and follow through. You know, Jackie is somebody who comes off as being very nice, and she is, but she is cutthroat too. She will not tolerate anything less than a fight when it is for the right reasons and for the right folks who are doing good work. So Jackie, it's good to be with you today. Chairman Horsford, Congressman Horsford, Representative Titus, and Representative Lee, I thank you all for what you do. And then, of course, General Ford, thank you for always what you do on behalf of working people. Because the power of the law can be very persuasive when necessary to talk about what is right and what is consistent with the values that we hold dear as enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. So thank you for your work. And today, I think we should also acknowledge it was 41 years ago today that Senator Harry Reid was sworn in for his first term in the United States Congress. And knowing Harry as we all did personally, I think he'd be really proud, and he's looking down in this room at this moment, to know that the fight continues. We always talk about that, right? The fight will continue, and the fight must continue. Si se puede. So there we are. So let me start by saying this, and I say this as Vice President of the United States. I do strongly believe that the strength of our nation depends on the strength of working people. The strength of working people is the backbone of the strength of our nation. Working people, and in particular, union members, are the reason that anyone, whether you are a member of a union or not, get a weekend, get paid leave, get family leave if you get it. It is union members and the working people who are members of organized labor, who have always fought and continue to fight for the rights, for the dignity of working people and the dignity of work itself. You know, my mother would always say to me, she would say, what is this business about unskilled, low-skilled labor? All labor, all work requires a skill. And with that, and understanding that then, one should understand the dignity that rightly comes with working hard and being productive, and the need to then value that by way of wages and benefits, pensions, workplace safety, all of the things that this union has fought for traditionally and most recently has had a historic win on. It is the work of understanding that, especially in these moments in time where, you know, a lot of people are feeling really alone. And when you feel alone, you feel powerless. Well, that's part of the essence of the strength of unions, is to remind workers that you are not alone, that you come with people, that people have your back. When we talk about collective bargaining, you know, for those who are trying to break unions around the country, understand this. If you just approach policy and your thoughts from the perspective of what is fair, okay? So we're talking about all negotiations then, don't we all agree, should have a fair outcome. All negotiations should have a fair outcome. Let's just use that as a baseline standard. Who could disagree with that if they're a reasonable person? Okay? Fair outcome. So is it going to be a fair outcome if one worker has to negotiate with a corporation for fair wages, for benefits, for safe working conditions? Is that outcome of that negotiation going to be fair? Probably not. But organized labor, collective bargaining, is about saying we're not going to leave that one worker out there by himself, herself. We're going to organize around the collective to use the power of the collective to have an equal voice in a negotiation, because we know then, yes, there will be a negotiation, some give and take on both sides, but the outcome will be fair. That's the point of organized labor. That's the point of collective bargaining. It's about fairness. It's a fundamental value that we as a nation say we hold sacred. We foundational principles, fairness, equality, giving people the freedom to live their best lives. That's what this is all about. It's basic, fundamental, foundational to who we say and believe we are as a country. So when I look at the hard work and the sacrifices, the day of action when I was last here, October 12th, and the members here were prepared to do some really hard work in addition to the work you do every day, but to strike, which meant to be concerned in a very deep way about how you're going to be able to pay rent, put food on the table, how long it might take, at what personal sacrifice, at what sacrifice for your children and your family and those who you take care of in your personal life. And you were prepared to do it on behalf of all working people. When I look at the accomplishments that came out of that day of action and the weeks that followed it, and we look, and the acting secretary talked about it, a 32% pay raise over 5 years. That's historic. That's historic. And by the way, so many of you were on the front lines forever and during the pandemic. It is long overdue. You got a pay raise. Long overdue. I think about it in terms of the historic accomplishment through those negotiations, through your preparedness to strike, that happened in terms of workplace safety. We've talked about this. I've met over the years with members here in this very hall and had the conversations, most recently on October 12th. How you work long hours, you work often, so many, work by yourself at night. You're going into those rooms. What that means in terms of an exposure to harassment and abuse, or just somebody just acting like a, you know how to fill in that blank, you know, and having to put up with that because you're working hard and you take your job seriously. And so what you have accomplished in these negotiations, to have the safety buttons now in place. And I was saying to some of the leaders who are here, I think that it's not only going to be about what you've done for your own members. You guys are setting a new standard for workers across the board. You're setting a new standard. Because, you know, too often in these negotiations, if you are as an individual on an individual basis trying to get what is just right and fair, somebody might be looking at you to say, that's not possible. That's not reasonable. You don't need that. But by accomplishing what you have accomplished here at Culinary 226, you are setting a new standard for workers everywhere of what they now know, because they know the story of what happened here. What they now know is possible, is reasonable, is right, and is achievable. So I came back to say thank you. To say thank you. Because the work that you have done is, yes, about the members of this storied union, but you in the larger movement for workers in America are setting new standards. You are setting new standards. And it is making a difference. And it is making a difference in the lives of people who you may never meet, people who may never know your name, but because of what you have done, they will benefit. And I'll close with another point. You know, what has really kept me up at night, frankly, for the last few years, is this weird kind of approach that some people are pushing about what is the measure of the strength of a leader. And they're pushing this stuff that suggests that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of what we know, which is that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. Who you lift up. That is the measure of the strength of a leader. Who do you lift up? There are people that would suggest that the character of leadership is to have no interest in the lives of other people, when we know the true character of a leader is to have some level of curiosity, concern, and care about the suffering of other people, and then to do something about it. That's who you are. That's who you are. And so I say thank you, Culinary 226. Thank you and congratulations. When we fight, we win.